What it do, YouTube? It's your boy Bako99, and we are one day away from this NFL season kicking off, and I am pumped. So I've been working on my lineups for my daily fantasy. I do DraftKings and also do Fantasy Aces. I'm in Texas, so we're not allowed to do FanDuel this year, but oh well, we got other options. So what I did was went to FantasyAlarm.com, and I'm gonna tell you again, if you guys really want all this information but much more on a weekly basis, you need to go to FantasyAlarm.com. And they have this subscription called the Playbook Pro, and what you want is only like maybe $14.99 for like daily, and only like $9.99 for seasonal long. But I mean, they have great information. So the rankings I'm gonna show you are coming from FantasyAlarm.com, and I'm also give you some of my opinions on what I think about these rankings and where these players should fall. But these are really good information and picks that you need to have in your lineup this week. So let's kick it off. Alright, so to get things started off, we're going to start with the quarterbacks. And what I like to do normally is build my daily lineup from the bottom up. So I usually start with maybe a defense, or maybe one of my flex players, or a third wide receiver, you know, one of the good value plays to kind of work your way up. But we're going to start from the quarterbacks and work our way down with these rankings. So also know that these rankings are pretty much a lot based on the matchups of the two teams going against each other, because there's a totally different strategy when it comes to season-long fantasy versus daily fantasy. So the way you go about picking your lineups are totally different. So for the first couple spots we have up here is Matthew Stafford, and one of the main reasons why we like Matthew Stafford is because the Lions and the Colts should be a shootout. You have the Colts, who are depleted at cornerback. They almost have no cornerbacks. Their best cornerback, Monte Davis, is hurt. Their other two quarterbacks, you know, on the second and third spot of the depth charts are hurt. So they're rolling out with their main quarterback as Cromartie, and then they got the rest of them. So I mean, Matthew Stafford should be throwing the ball all day up and down the field against that pathetic Colts defense. So for that alone, that's why he's coming in at one of the top rankings for this week in daily fantasy. And then another shootout game that's going to happen that should have very high score and very high fantasy point production is the Raiders and the Saints games. So we got Derek Carr, you know, with Amari Cooper and Crabtree going against their poor pass defense. Carr should put up big numbers, so he's coming in top of the rankings for this week as well. And then keeping with the same game, you got Drew Brees. I mean, it really don't matter. Drew Brees is a beast at home, and they're playing at home this week, so he's a very strong play. Can't go wrong with Drew Brees in that game as well, because it will be a shootout. We have Dak Prescott for the Cowboys and the Giants. I think Dak Prescott is going to do pretty good this game. You know, it's a divisional opponent, but usually the Cowboys and Giants games are usually high scoring. But I do have faith that Dak Prescott will have a decent, but he's up here strictly because of the value that you're going to get for him. If you look over at the FanDuel DraftKings, I mean, he is $5,000 to own. So you get Dak Prescott, and he can give you maybe 20 points. Hopefully is what you want to aim for. Then you have a lot of money to go add some more of the top tier receivers and things of that nature. And then following that, we got Eli Manning, because it's the same game. I think if Dak Prescott comes out and does good like he did in the preseason, it'll keep the pressure on Eli, so Eli will come back and he'll be throwing the ball a lot that game. And then Andrew Luck, same situation. The Colts and Lions. The Lions have a bad defense as well. Pretty much on the pass defense is what they're worst at. So Andrew Luck should be throwing the ball up and down the field as well as Matthew Stafford. So those are really good picks. Then moving down, we got Tyrod Taylor, Matt Ryan, Russell Wilson, Brock Osweiler. I would have Brock Osweiler a little bit higher up probably, but I'm not sure if the Texans would just come and put a spanking on the Bears, and you may see a lot of action from Lamar Miller. But these are pretty much going to be your best plays to roll with your quarterbacks, and a lot of it has to do with the value and how much these quarterbacks cost. So next up we got are the running backs, and the best running back play and rankings for this week in daily fantasy. And I want to let y'all know that the first person I have ranked in this week 1 of the NFL is Spencer Ware. You're not going to get too many opportunities to make a play like this. So he is ranked number 1 because look at his salary. His salary is $5,400 on FanDuel. It's even cheaper, $4,400 on DraftKings. Spencer Ware and the Chiefs are going up against the Chargers. The Chargers are pathetic. Their defense is pathetic. If you can pick on the Chargers defense in daily fantasy all year, you will be putting up some points. And Spencer Ware will be overlooked because people know Jamal Charles may not play at all this game, so they're going to flock to all of these big names. But if you can spend $5,000 on Spencer Ware and he puts up 100 yards and a touchdown or two, which I projected he will, you will be set up nice for the rest of your team to come together and actually maybe win some payouts. So Spencer Ware should be definitely a play if you're doing any daily fantasy tournaments or even cash lineup games this week. Next one, we have Todd Gurley. That's the top play. He's going to get, I'm going to be surprised if he get 30 carries this game. So especially with the 49ers, high octane, fast-paced offense, that should give Gurley a lot of chances to run, especially if you got Chip Kelly and his crew going out, putting up 3-and-out series and things like that. So Todd Gurley is a very strong play for this week. I really liking the matchup against the Ravens with LaShawn McCoy. He should be good. Christian Michael is another one that's going to be good because of the value. If you can get him on FanDuel for $4,800, $3,700 on DraftKings. I've been playing Fantasy Aces as well, and they have him at $4,200. Fantasy Aces has, I believe, 2 flex spots. So if you can build you a strong lineup and then come in with Christian Michaels as your last flex position, your team probably is going to look strong and have a good performance in week 1. So Christian Michaels is definitely a strong play for this week. Devontae Freeman, the Bucks. If y'all don't realize, Devontae Freeman caught about 30 damn passes last year against the Bucks games, and the 2 times they met up. So I'm definitely with Freeman because I believe DraftKings is a full point PPR, FanDuel is a 0.5. But along with Devontae Freeman, just going to be running on the weak interior of the Bucks defense. He'll also be catching some passes out the backfield as well. So he's a strong play. I think Ezekiel Elliott is going to have a good game. He should control the clock, should run the ball a lot to protect Dak Prescott. So he's a strong play. Lamar Miller is a really, really, really strong play. And like I said, I think the Texans are going to take it to the Bears. The Bears are horrible, as well. So I think that the Texans would get out in probably an early lead, and then second half, Lamar Miller should see a lot of touches and rack up some fantasy points. And then we have Ryan Matthews. Ryan Matthews is going to be kind of your 50-50 play, and not a 50-50 contest, but a 50-50 meaning that he could go out there and put up some big numbers, or he could go out there and not put up that much, because you have Carson Wentz, and that's what kind of dropped Ryan Matthews in the rankings for me, because I just don't know about Carson Wentz. So I'm thinking that he should get a lot of carries to keep the ball on the ground in this first game, and the Browns defense is horrible as well, so he could work out for you. But if he pops for you and you can get him in your second running back or one of your flex positions, then he should be able to help your overall score this week if he does real good, like I think he should do by the sheer amount of volume of touches he should get. You got D'Angelo Williams. We all know the Steelers got a weak defense as well. D'Angelo Williams, the beast. In 3 weeks, Le'Veon Bell will be back. So you might as well take advantage of D'Angelo Williams and his low salary, as it is right now. FanDuel has him $7,100 and DraftKings $7,000. So that's not too low. But if you go over to like Fantasy Aces, he's $4,900. So D'Angelo Williams is a great play as well. And then Latavius Murray. The Raiders did say they want to run the ball more, but I still think this game is going to be a shootout. But I think there'll be enough points going on in this game for Murray to get his fair share of it. But that's why he's not at higher up in the rankings, sure, for the fact that there's going to be a lot of passing going on in that game. But with the price point at $6,600 and $5,600, you still may be able to come across a lineup you're putting together where you can throw him in there, and he should be pretty decent for you as well this week. Now let's take a look at the wide receivers. The very top ranking on my list for wide receivers is DeAndre Hopkins. Now next to Antonio Brown, DeAndre Hopkins is probably going to cost you the most money, but you need to get him in your lineup if you can. They're going against the Bears. That Brock Osweiler going to come out firing the ball. I'm projecting that Hopkins is going to get at least probably 2 touchdowns if that's how the game flow goes and they're throwing a lot. So I would definitely try to get him in your lineup. And then if you're not a DeAndre Hopkins fan, that's fine. I would go with Julio Jones. We all know that Julio Jones Jones, DeAndre Hopkins, and Antonio Brown are the best. Antonio Brown, are the best receivers. I'm pretty sure they went 1, 2, 3 as the receivers taken in all of the seasonal fantasy drafts. So either go with Hopkins or Julio Jones, you'll be good right there. But Hopkins costs a little bit less than Julio Jones. That's why he's ranked higher than Julio Jones, because of the price. You save about $600 with DeAndre Hopkins, which could help you further down in your lineup when you're picking your players. And then next is one of my best value plays of the week is Marvin Jones. This is another product of the Colts game and the Colts' pathetic pass defense with all their depleted cornerbacks. So whether you get Golden Tate or Marvin Jones, you should be good. There'll be a lot of fantasy points going around in that game. I'm going to keep on saying it. But I feel that Golden Tate is going to be the possession receiver, and Marvin Jones is going to be the one that's getting the touchdown, getting the buckets. So Marvin Jones ranked number 3 in this week's fantasy rankings for daily fantasy. And then next we have Amari Cooper. This is another receiver that if you can get in that lineup, it'll pay off. They're going against the Saints, and the Saints have a horrible pass defense as well. They didn't improve that much on the offseason. So between Amari Cooper and Crabtree, you should be good there. I tell you, a real sneaky play if you want to alter one of your lineups to kind of hedge your bet a little bit is Michael Crabtree. Amari Cooper should do pretty good in this game, but Michael Crabtree has a better matchup against the cornerback that's going to be holding him. So I wouldn't be surprised if he actually gets more points this week than Amari Cooper. But Amari Cooper's a stud, so he's always a potential candidate to break out and get some big points for you. And then we got Brandon Marshall. The Bengals, really right now in this game in week 1, all they really have to work with is Adam Jones in the secondary. So I think that Ryan Fitzpatrick won't have any issues or problems getting Brandon Marshall the ball. So Brandon Marshall is going to do what he always do. He's one of the most consistent fantasy players out there. So definitely wouldn't be surprised if he catches a touchdown or 2. The only thing that maybe stop him from having a big game is if Decker comes in and steals a touchdown or so. But Brandon Marshall is one of your safer bets as always. And then the next one we have Tajae Sharpe. This one's a good value because of the price. Now they're going against the Vikings. The Vikings have a good run defense, but the Titans want to do a ground and pound game and identity this year, so they're going to run the rock. But because of the Vikings have a pretty stout defense, especially against the run, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some plays to be made in the passing game. And out of all the receivers on the Titans, if there is a big play to be made, it will be Tajae Sharpe, the rookie. So he would be a good value. Save some money getting him and put some of that other money into some of these other players. Maybe you can get Amari Cooper and a DeAndre Hopkins on the same team. So Tajae Sharpe is in on the rankings for this week. Odell Beckham is in on the rankings. He's just not high up as DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones, and that's strictly because of the matchups against the teams. I just feel that some of these teams with these weaker pass defense in daily fantasy are going to put up more points. Now, of course, in season long, you want to take Odell Beckham, but as far as the daily fantasy goes, you really got to look at more of the matchups of the teams and try to predict game flow versus just the individual player. So Odell Beckham is still a strong player. He can still go off for tons of points. He's $9,100 and $9,300 to pick up, but definitely nothing wrong if you go with Odell Beckham. And then I have coming in the Michael Thomas, the rookie. The Saints, they're going to be throwing the ball, and there are a lot of targets, but who is the playmaker on that team? Fleener had a bad offseason. Cooks is a PPR machine, but he doesn't really get into the end zone that much. So when it comes down to scoring the touchdowns, unless they're running the ball in with Ingram or something like that, Michael Thomas, I would not be surprised at all as a rookie in his first game gets a touchdown. So he's in on the rankings. Of course, you got Dez Bryant. He's in the same boat with Odell Beckham. He's a really good, strong play, but just with the matchup, I just see more fantasy points going on in the Falcons and Buccaneers games, the Raiders and Saints and Lions and Colts. I think that's where a lot of these points, high scores are going to come from those 3 games. And then we have Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb is back in his normal slot position because we got Jordy Nelson back. So I think people are overlooking Cobb and he may not be heavily owned. So instead of picking Jordy Nelson, I would say go with Carr because in the middle of the field, that's where you should be able to exploit the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. And then Cobb catching the ball and run with after the catch should be pretty good because he usually comes across the middle and catches those drag routes and things like that. So he's another sneaky play with a good value that you can get that you should roll with if it all works out for you. Next up, we got the tight end rankings. Now, you may be surprised, but we got Zach Ertz coming in at the #1 ranking for tight end plays this week. And like I said, keep in mind, these are value plays. Half of them are, some of them are just their studs, so you got to start them. So when I say start Zach Ertz, or he comes in at the #1 ranking, that's not saying just go right up there and pick him. That's saying that if you're trying to build your lineup and you're trying to maximize the players you get with the salary and to keep everything under the salary cap, some of these players should get you decent production. They'll have you saving your money so you can go after your top guys. So keep that in mind when I'm doing these rankings. But the first one I'm coming in with Zach Ertz, because once again I'm picking on the Browns defense. You got Carson Wentz, his first NFL game. You know, the Eagles don't have any real dynamic receivers, so he's going to rely on Rashard Matthews and his safety net, Zach Ertz. So I think Zach Ertz going to get a lot of touches, and he did pretty good in the preseason. So I'm kind of high on Ertz at the moment. So he's ranked #1. Rob Gronkowski would be #2, but he actually didn't even make the flight, so I think he's going to be out this game. We want to wait till Sunday to get the official injury report, but I'm almost certain that Rob Gronkowski is a no-go for week 1. So actually be aware, do not pick Rob Gronkowski this week. And then next we got Dwayne Allen. Once again, that's that close Lions game. I'm gonna keep stressing it. You need to pick on these teams with these horrible defenses and these high-scoring games. So Dwayne Allen comes in at #3. Jordan Reed is a good play against the Steelers. The Steelers are another weak pass defensive team, weak secondaries. I don't trust their cornerbacks at all. So Jordan Reed pretty much is a wide receiver trapped in a tight end's body. So I wouldn't be surprised if he lines up in the tight end position, or he goes out, lines up out there with the receivers. So he's a really good play for this week. We got Delanie Walker. He's a good play because he's pretty much going to be the main target for Mariota. And you have Antonio Gates against the Chiefs. Gates, when you look at Gates, he always looks fat to me, and I always doubt him, like he's not going to do anything. He can't do anything. He's big and slow, but every year he comes in and just balls out. So I think he might be a good play against the Chiefs. You have Crockett Gilmore for the Ravens, Travis Kelce, Julian Thomas, and Vance McDonald. I would like Vance McDonald if you're trying to save some money with your salary, but for the most part, I would really try to stick with Zach Ertz, Dwayne Allen, Jordan Reed, and Delanie Walker, and Antonio Gates if you choose a tight end for this week. Now we got some rankings for some of the top kickers for this week, so I'm just going to go down the list. And with the kickers, you can just try to use your best judgment, which teams or games you think will be high scoring, or which teams you think will stall out and be kicking some long field goals, but nothing too special. My main strategy with kickers is I always try to pick kickers, you know, they kick in a dome or in good weather, you know, for that day. But also you want to pay attention to the matchups of the teams and kind of predict what you think the game flow is going to be. So, but going down the rankings, we got Matt Bryan, we got Nick Novak, Sebastian Janikowski, Steve Hauschka, if I pronounced that right, Justin Tucker, Steven Gronkowski, Matt Prater, and then I like Chandler for the Cardinals kicker. I like that one this week. You got Dan Bailey, also like that one, and we got Blair Walsh. So these will be pretty much, you just get a kicker of one of these kickers. They all have pretty good salaries. You know, Matt Bryan is one that's salaries in the middle of them. So I would really try to get him if you can. Or Nick Novak is what I'm going with a lot, because I think the Texans going to put up a lot of points and probably kick a couple field goals here and there. I don't see a 50-yarder coming from Nick Novak, but I may see 1 or 2, 30, 40-yarders coming from him, plus all the extra points, so he would be a good play. But either one you choose, go with your guy you like. But these are some of the top rankings for this week in daily fantasy for your kickers. And last but not least, we have the rankings for the defense. So starting off, we have Seattle with the Dolphins. Tannehill is garbage. The Dolphins offense is going to be garbage. Their receivers, other than Jarvis Landry, are probably not going to do that much. So I really like in Seattle Seahawks defense this week. So they're coming at the top rankings. Next, you got Kansas City Chiefs. Like I told you, anytime the Chiefs are playing, try to get action against them. Next, we got the Los Angeles Rams. This could be a good game as far as the defense is concerned if Chip Kelly comes out and tries to run that fast-paced offense, but is going 3 and out a lot. And then you have Todd Gurley on the other end running the ball, controlling the clock. I think they can really be good. Plus with Gabbard, I can see maybe a turnover or 2 as well. So Los Angeles Rams are really a strong play. And then fourth is my favorite play of the week is the Houston Texans. I think they're going to get sacks. I think they're going to get interceptions with Jay Cutler back there. And really, as a defense, that's what you want, is sacks and interceptions. So the Houston Texans is a really good play. Arizona Cardinal is another good play as well. I'm kind of hesitant, to put them above the Texans, Rams, Chiefs, or Seahawks because of the Patriots. I don't let Garoppolo fool me. You got Belichick back there, and with all offseason to plan for this game. But, if you want to roll with Arizona, they're up there. The Packers against the Jaguars. I think this may be a lower scoring game than people think. I don't think it's going to be a shootout barn burner. Jacksonville improved their defense. Not sure if it's going to come out on week 1, but throughout the year, you'll see Jacksonville Jaguars going to have a really nice defense. And then Jordy Nelson coming back for the Packers. He's going to play, but how effective is he going to be? We saw kind of the fallout last year when Jordy Nelson went in the lineup, how the Packers offense took a hit. So, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. We got the Philadelphia Eagles against the Browns. The Browns are just bad. The Eagles are going to have a good defensive line that's going to get some sacks, and they could almost probably knock RG3 out this game. So I can definitely see a couple of turnovers coming from RG3. So the Eagles will be a good play. And then to finish out the rankings, we got the Washington Redskins, we got the New York Jets, and we have the Buffalo Bills. Well, guys, there you have it. Now, remember, these rankings are not just to go by the top person in each position and get them, because you probably won't get them all to fit under the salary cap. So these are just players that you need to have in your lineup, but it's up to you to choose when and where you're picking these players to fit them all in the salary cap and to fit them all to where you can maximize your lineup and maximize the points of the lineup. So I hope this video helps. Remember, if you do like it and it does help, subscribe to my channel, leave a like, because that helped me. But whether you do or you're not, I'ma still pump out these videos because I love fantasy football. I was real successful in daily fantasy last year, and I want to help out as many people as I can this year because there's enough money in these tournaments and these websites and all these contests to go around for everybody. So let me know what you think about it. If you have any questions or anything like that, leave them in the comments, and good luck to you. Peace.